afternoon. Baby girl, I just don't care. All I know is that when my Jones comes down.
Hello again. Okay, so I'm gonna do a retro, you know, a vintage recipe, something that you don't get. Now everything today is instant or prepackaged or pre-bought. So we're gonna make a vintage dessert, and it's just gonna be chocolate pudding and whipped cream. The chocolate pudding is a favorite of mine. I like to eat it while it's still warm. And, you know, I don't really measure anything, but the first thing we're going to put in this pudding is some baking cocoa. And you can add as much as you like or as little. I like 2 big heaping tablespoons full, plus a smidgen. And then it calls for half a cup of flour, a half a cup of sugar, and 2 heaping teaspoons of flour. Why can't I talk today? Okay, that's a little bit more than a half a cup, I know. And then I'm going to do this much flour. Okay, and then it calls for 2 cups of milk. And then it'll call for butter and vanilla. Let me get my milk. We're going to go ahead and put 1 cup of milk in now. And we're going to go ahead and pour the other cup and just a little bit. And I'm going to stir it up, and then I'll add the rest of the milk. And then I will cook it on a medium to just a medium heat, just under medium maybe, until it's thick. And then I'll add like a tablespoonful of butter and maybe a teaspoon or 2 of vanilla, depending on my taste. Now I'll go ahead and tell you what ingredients I'm going to be using for the whipped cream. The homemade whipped cream is definitely retro, vintage. Matter of fact, I first saw the recipe when I was watching an old a DVD of the Burns and Allen show. And it just calls for a can of evaporated milk. I'm not going to give name brands, as you know. If somebody wants me to mention a name brand, they could pay me, sponsor me. So it calls for a can of evaporated milk, sugar. I like to use the powdered sugar, and a little bit of lemon juice. Now you can use vanilla instead of lemon juice, but I find that the lemon juice gives it a nice flavor. And that's pretty much all you do. So let me go ahead and cook this, and I'll come back. Okay, so I added the rest of the milk, and as you can see, I got a wire whisk. I'm hoping you can see this. Let me see. Wire whisk. Yeah, you can see that. It's kind of up close, but I've got limited space here. But anyway, so I'm just going to whip the lumps out so that there's no flour or cocoa kind of floating. And when it starts to thicken, you want to stir it often. And it's just basically gotten started, so not ready yet. Well, the pudding is beginning to bloop, and it's getting thick. Let me show you. As you can see, it's starting to get thick, and you can feel it on the bottom, you know, that it's starting to get thick. So right about now is when I'm going to add my butter and my vanilla. There goes the butter. Seen it plop in there. And then I'm going to add a little bit of vanilla. Set the camera down. And it called for like a little bit more than a teaspoon or so. I just do a capful plus a little. Just a, you know, a few drops more. And however you, and yeah, I'm using imitation, but that's okay. And it's really starting to thicken up nicely. Now, the old-fashioned cook and eat pudding, I love it when it's still warm. But when you put it in the refrigerator, it'll get like a chocolatey film on the top, and if you want to avoid that, you can use saran wrap and, you know, put it over the pudding and let it touch the pudding so you don't get that film. Me personally, give me the film. I will just pull that sucker off and eat it as is, suck it in like snot. Okay, now it's getting really, really bloopy. That's the only way I can explain it. You can see how it's bubbling. So now we're going to turn the heat off and pour it in our pan, or, you know, or whatever. And then later you can put it in dessert dishes and top it off or however you want. But right now, the bloopy pudding, let me get that put in a bowl and put in the refrigerator. And then we'll get started here in a little bit on the whipped cream. Now for the whipped cream. We use the evaporated milk, the canned evaporated milk, and then we put the beaters in the milk in a bowl and put it in the freezer just until ice starts to form on the sides. Okay, now I'm going to have to put this over here. Hopefully you can see everything. And the recipe calls for 1/4 cup to a 1/2 cup of powdered sugar, and I've got a 1/2 cup. I'm going to dump that in there. It calls for either a teaspoon or give or take of vanilla or lemon juice. And the one on the Gracie Allen and Burns show, they did lemon juice. So we're going to do a capful of lemon juice. And then we put the beaters in the egg beater. And I gotta tell you, this egg beater I have is like, it's over 40 years old and it still works wonderfully. So I'm just gonna beat it on high. Now it will have a yellowy look to it. It's not gonna be pure white. And you'll see it's getting kind of foamy. I don't know if you can see or not, but it'll foam. And you just beat it until, you know, it's stiff and at the consistency that you want. And I'll be back. There's the chocolate pudding and there's the whipped cream. And we are going to take a taste of this whipped cream. Let's see. Delicious. Alright, let me get a bowl. Alright, there's the chocolate pudding with the whipped cream. Now, the whipped cream could have been whipped a little bit more. As you can see, it's humid in here, so I do need to whip it some more. But just so that I could get this video done, I went ahead and put it together. With some chocolate pudding on my spoon with the cream. Oh, I died and went to heaven. This shit is good. I'm sorry. This stuff is good. Now with the pudding, you can make it darker by adding more cocoa powder, or you can make it more milk chocolatey by adding less. But, you know, the 2 heaping tablespoons is kind of like a go-by. You can do less, you can do more. Hang on. Oh, man, that's... You know what? I don't care what anybody says. This instant crap has nothing on homemade. You know... You know, our mothers knew what the hell they were doing. And this is when food was good. Oh. And Pippi's sitting over there on the other side of the table where she's not supposed to be. Yeah. She's being bad. Oh, man. If you like chocolate... Oh, This, the hell with dinner. I'm eating this. I don't know if I want to share any of this. I'll tell you what. If you're going through menopause or PMS, or this is the shit now. This is the stuff now. I might have to rate my video rated R, but oh, is this good. This is really, you know, I have a feeling you're going to end up watching me eat this whole bowl. I could talk all day long about cooking. Oh, man, you know what? I want to stop, but I can't. You know, this is what it's all about. And really, it didn't take me that long to make it. It wasn't that difficult to throw in the ingredients. You just kind of throw them together and cook it. Cool it. And this is good. I mean, this whipped cream, yeah, it's not as stiff, but you know exactly what's in it. You know, this is not instant. This is the bomb. This is good. I'm going to finish my pudding. And talk about happy eating. This is it, baby. This is it.